Welcome, my name's David Bailey. I'm a life coach and a hypnotherapist. 加油中国. This video is for you if you're in China and you're currently being affected by the coronavirus outbreak. And I wanted to record this because I know there's been in the news a lot of negativity, some xenophobia, some misinformation about what's happening. And through talking to my friends on a daily basis in China, I know that there are a lot of people, they're very stressed out, they're anxious about becoming infected themselves. Some of them, they're checking their temperature every 20 seconds, they're washing their hands constantly, they're paranoid about when they go out that they might get sick. They've got their own businesses and they're concerned about what's going to happen with that. They're paying rent, they're paying for staff, and the future is very uncertain. And if they have a job, they're also a bit worried about, well, what's going to happen when this is finished, because his business is going to be as good. So there's a lot of stress and anxiety, and I'm going to be sharing with you a way of understanding your mind to help you be able to cope with the stress, deal with anxiety, and have more clarity, more focus, so that you can take care of your own health, look after the people you love, and be able to cope with the pressures that you're currently facing. Because nothing like this has really happened on the scale that it is happening in the modern era. Of course, there's been viruses and outbreaks in the past, but nothing on the scale of what we're seeing today. And also, we didn't have the access to information and technology that we currently have. And that is going to play a part when you listen, and I'll explain a bit later. So, in my observation, some of my friends, they're coping very well. They're being very matter-of-fact about it. They're dealing with the situation. And some of them are really struggling. Some of them, they're not sleeping. They're stressed and they're worried and they're anxious. So we're going to be exploring that more in depth, because if you begin to see that people's state of mind is what is really the key here, the state of mind that they're looking at the situation is going to very much affect their experience and their ability to perform in this difficult time. And in order to do that, I'm going to give you some lesson about evolutionary psychology, because it's key to really understand. When you understand that, you can relate to your own stressful thoughts and your worries and anxieties in a different way. So our brains are designed to survive, and human beings have evolved over thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and we have inside us a very primal part of the brain called the amygdala, and this is designed to keep you safe in survival situations. And so if you imagine a typical survival situation back when we were living in more tribal societies, you'd be walking through the jungle and you saw a bear or a tiger. Now, the brain, the amygdala, has three reactions to that danger. That is, it will either freeze, it will keep you steady, you won't move, and you'll feel stuck. That response is in order to avoid being eaten, because predators like to eat live prey. So if you're frozen, you're less likely to be eaten. The second response is run away. So you get a hit of cortisol and adrenaline. It gives you more energy, your heart rate increases, you can't breathe as deeply, and you can run faster. The third option is fight. So again, you've got the adrenaline, you've got the cortisol, you're ready to fight an adversary. This is great when it is a physical situation like a bear, a tiger, or a fight that might happen, because it's going to keep you safe and protected in that moment. However, the brain cannot tell the difference between a real threat, i.e. there's a tiger in the room, or an imagined threat. What if I get sick? What if this? What if that? It cannot tell the difference. It's why when you go and watch a film, if you've watched a horror film and you get scared, you get freaked out, you get nervous, that is because your brain is not able to, in that moment, distinguish between it's just a movie, objectively I'm safe, they're only actors, I'm perfectly okay in the cinema. It can't tell the difference, so you feel the fear, you feel the adrenaline, and that is why the brain cannot distinguish between an imagined threat and a real threat. This is really important for you to understand if you want to relate to your own thoughts and emotions in a more empowering, freeing way, you need to be able to distinguish between, okay, I can't tell the difference between a real and an imagined threat, okay? That is really key to helping you get some freedom here. The second point is that your brain is designed to focus on the negative. Why is that? Well, again, evolutionary psychology, better safe than sorry. If you imagine thousands and thousands of years ago when we were cavemen, if you were just skipping through the forest, just eating random berries off the floor, well, guess what? You might die. You might have picked a poisonous berry. Much better to be very cautious to, be safe rather than be sorry. That, again, is why we focus on the negative, because it's survival. It keeps us alive. And that is good for very, specific circumstances when you're out in the wilderness trying to survive. But we didn't have WeChat, we didn't have Weibo, we didn't have 24-hour news. We also are not in a physical fight situation. When you're at home worrying about stuff, the danger is not physically in the environment, okay? So there's a difference, but your brain cannot tell the difference. For example, if you read about some news story or something that a rumor on WeChat, again, I'm not talking about whether it's true or not true. That's not the topic of this video. What I am saying is that your brain accessing that information, remember, thousands of years ago, we never had mobile phones, but your brain sees that. It could be on the other side of China, literally thousands of miles from where you are. It can't tell the difference. So it's a threat, bang, the amygdala gets triggered, cortisol and adrenaline are in your bloodstream. These are chemicals. If somebody were to inject you with cortisol and adrenaline, you would have a physical response. Your heart rate increases, shallow breathing. Also, the oxygen is drained from the prefrontal cortex. This is the thinking part of the mind. This is where you have nuanced, academic, intellectual discussions. That's great. Not so if there's a tiger in the room. You don't want to have an academic debate about what to do if there's a tiger in the room. You need to run. That's going to keep you alive. However, reading your WeChat, reading Weibo, imagining about what if this, what if this, what if this, that is a very different situation. And responding to that in the very black and white, yes, no, good, bad kind of thinking isn't actually useful, because it's just creating more stress and more tension in your body. Not only that, in fact, when you're running on this heightened state of adrenaline and cortisol in this fight, flight or freeze response, your immune system is actually lowered. That means you're more easily to get sick from a virus, which is exactly what we want to avoid. If you're calm, if you're clear, if you're more at peace, your immune system has a better chance of operating because it's not burning so much energy and stress and tension. So that is very key that you understand this. Just because you get triggered by an event that you might have seen, a thought that you might have had, an emotion that you might be feeling, it doesn't mean that it's objectively true. Again, it doesn't mean that it's false, but it doesn't mean it's true or not. And in this situation that we find ourselves in, when we're at home, we can't leave, we don't have access, what would serve us the most is being able to calm down, have more clarity, focus on the immediate situation and what needs to happen, rather than what if this, what if that. That is going to give you the best chance of being healthy, fit, increasing your immune system, taking care of the people that you love, rather than being panicked, stressed, unable to sleep. Your immune system goes down, you're more easily to catch a cold, to catch a virus, not what we want. So you might be going, well thanks, now I can't trust my own thinking. Cheers, thank you for that, David. Right, I'm going to show you or explain to you how we can understand our mind in a way that is really going to enable you to recognize when it is that maybe you're getting caught up in some stressful thinking, and help you understand the difference. So before I do that, I want to tell you a story about my life and how I've used this in the past. And yeah, this is kind of a ridiculous thing. You might be like, well, this is very different to what I'm stressed about right now, David. I get that. And at the same time, before the virus outbreak, you got stressed about minor things, right? I'm sure there were times you got stressed about stuff. So please allow me to tell this story and I'll explain in a sec. So I used to get stressed out by people collecting for charity. If you've been to London, if you've been in the UK, you know you cannot walk 50 metres down London through central London without somebody jumping out, trying to get your money, trying to get your credit details for a charity, right? This used to cause me stress. And about 5 years ago, I was in Soho Square. I was walking through the square, walking along. In front of me, a group of people with clipboards, grinning manically, and I was, in my mind, the dialogue started. Oh my God, what do they want? Geez, they're going to be asking for my money. I hate it. They pretend to be your friend. This is really insincere, disingenuous, manipulative. And this was going around my head. And even at the same time, I pulled out my phone and I was like, if I pretend to talk, they're just going to leave me alone. It felt like they were making me stressed. It felt like there was some magical thing from the clipboard to my brain causing me the stress, right? When I walked by, I was like, oh my God, I'm causing this stress. This story that I'm telling myself, this thought that I'm incessantly running around my head is causing me stress because I can't see that this is just a story. It's not objective reality. Because when I looked around, some people were stressed. Some people were getting on with it. Some people were just getting on with their life, laughing. I realized if it were objectively true that they were making me stressed, everybody would respond exactly the same. This is the same with the virus situation. People think, oh, I'm stressed because of the coronavirus. I'm stressed because of work. Yes, they're very serious situations you need to take seriously. The reason, though, that some people are able to cope better than others is because their state of mind. Because everybody's in a very similar situation. Some people probably, even in your own family, are coping better. Some people are calmer. In my experience, usually children, they're not stressed, they're not worried, they're just getting on with it. It's the adults that are using their critical thinking to stress themselves out. So recognize it's the way you're relating to the situation and your thoughts and your emotions that is either causing you high stress or you're kind of getting on with it. You're doing what you do, you're doing what you need to be doing, and you're able to operate on a more calm, with more clarity and more focus. And fortunately, our body is going to help us here. Our body, it's like a thought barometer to let us know if we're in a low stressful state of mind or a higher state of mind. Because if you were to hold your hand over a fire, you imagine your hand's over a fire, ouch, you pull back, it burns, you feel the physical sensation. It's letting you know, pull back, stop going on with this situation. The same is true when you're caught up in stressful thinking. Just think, when you're stressed, where do you notice it in your body? Is it in your stomach? Maybe it's your throat or your shoulders. Where do you feel the tension? That tension in your body is there to let you know that you're now in a low state of mind. It's to letting you know that maybe you're not seeing things quite so clearly right now. Pull back, get some space. That way your mind can settle down, because when your mind settles down, clarity will emerge, new thinking will arise. And in that situation I spoke about, the charity muggers, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm stressing myself out. This isn't objectively true. Yes, they are collecting for charity. Yes, I'm not a fan of it in the way that they're doing it. Trust me, I like charity, but the way that it's done in a very aggressive way, I didn't appreciate. That enabled me to realize, okay, that's only my thinking. It's not the truth. It's not objectively true. I started to laugh because I'm stressing myself out now. When I saw that, I saw through the psychological illusion, and of course I still had an opinion about it, but I wasn't victim to it. You can have a thought, oh my God, I'm scared about the virus, or you can be had by it to the point where you're taking your temperature every 20 seconds you're washing your hands constantly, you're in fear constantly. That is being had by having the thought, of course, everybody wants to be safe. Everybody is trying to take care of their health. Nothing wrong with that. But being incessantly worried and concerned by it is not actually serving you. And the reason that you do that is because you think, again, we have the focus on the negative, the survival reflex, and you think there's some value in it, right? Well, if I don't take it seriously, then I'm more actually likely to get sick. Not true. Not true. As we said, the immune system is lowered when you're stressed. That is what is going to cause you danger. So I'm going to give you another story, another metaphor to really help you to understand this. When you drive, if you're a driver, probably most of you are, and even if you're not, just imagine, if you're a driver in a car, busy motorway, lots going on, traffic coming towards you, people going and crossing the road. Objectively, there are many things happening and there are many what ifs. But when you're driving, you're not thinking, what if I crash? What if this car does this? What if that person runs out? What if there's oil on the road? You're not thinking all of those what if scenarios because it would distract you from keeping your eyes on the road and actually staying safe. This is the same thing. It isn't useful. It isn't helpful. What you need to do is focus on what needs to happen right now. Keep your eyes on the road, stay safe, remain focused. That is going to keep you safe. And you know that when you're driving because you're not worried about what if this, what if this, what if this, because you realize I'd be so distracted, I wouldn't be able to drive safely. It's exactly the same thing. Yes, there are real threats. Yes, there are real dangers. And consistently or incessantly worrying about them is actually going to put you in danger, like the driver that is so stressed and worried about all these things that they can't concentrate on the road. You don't want to be that person. So being aware of your body and noticing where there's tension, okay, maybe I'm not seeing things so clearly. Right now is probably not a good time to, analyze every little stressful thought because I'm not seeing it in true perspective. Just creating some space and awareness. There's nothing wrong with you. It's a survival instinct, but it's just being misapplied in this situation. Yes, there is a threat. Yes, there is danger, but being able to take control of your thinking and relate to it in a different way, again, relating to your emotions differently, using your body as a barometer to help you in this situation is actually going to help you get more clarity, release stress, release worry. The strength of your emotion is not an indication of the truth of the situation, okay? Because just because you're very stressed about something doesn't mean the thought is actually true. That is news for most people because most people believe, well, I'm feeling it really strongly, therefore it must be true. It might be, but it doesn't objectively mean it must be true. You know this if you've been in an argument, you see somebody getting very angry, they're not seeing things clearly in the moment, but they believe, they think, and what they say is the objective truth. It isn't the case, right? Being able to relate to your thoughts, the stressful thoughts about infection, about getting sick, they're going to come. That's okay. You don't need to constantly focus on them. It's okay. Realizing, yeah, I've done what I need to do, I'm wearing the mask, I've cleaned my hands, etc. Taking precautions, absolutely, but not being seduced into consistently focusing on those thoughts, consistently checking WeChat every 5 seconds. That is not actually serving you. It's putting you at greater risk because your immune system's going down. I hope this has been helpful. So I wanted to share this, and I've got lots of friends that I'm really, my heart goes out to you guys, and I want you to know that I'm supporting you, that people really care, and that you can make this, you can do this, it's going to be okay. When you're able to relate to your thoughts and feelings in a different way, you're going to be able to cope with this situation, you're going to be able to deal with the pressure. So use your body as a barometer. When you're feeling tension and stress in your body, that's a signal to let you know you're not seeing things so clearly. How do you do anything about it? Well, maybe if you imagine that I have a bucket of water here filled with sand, what's the easiest, simplest way to separate the two? Okay, you might say, well, use a sieve, try pouring it out. There are ways. The simplest way, however, is just to leave it alone. Allow it to settle. The water will become clear. This is like your mind. When you allow it to settle down, when you're not constantly checking the WeChat and the Weibo, you just allow it to settle. Maybe you have a cup of tea. Maybe you watch something. Maybe you read a book. Maybe you play with a cat. Maybe you chat to your family. You're with your family. This is an opportunity to connect. You do something other than the stress, like checking the WeChat, checking the Weibo, relating to the thoughts again and again and again. You do something else. You take a breath. Maybe you just become aware. Oh, okay, I'm not seeing it so clearly right now. That can be the key to freeing your own mind and stress, releasing tension. I'm going to be sharing with you other practical tips in some other videos about breathing, about stress, and about creating freedom for yourself. So thank you for watching, and my love and support is going out with you. Take care. Bye-bye.